Four-star brass band, y'all. All right, class of 2026. For your families who may not know us, my name is Craig Futterman, and this is my wife, Kenyatta Tatum Futterman, your resident deans from International House. And Kenyatta and I are joined on stage by Abdullah and Antoinette Pratt, the resident deans at Snell-Hitchcock. And also by some of your former resident heads who you'll see shortly. This is about you. This is about you. No faculty speech, no long speeches from us, I promise. Only speakers are gonna be your fellow grads. Rishi Basu from iHouse, and Maren Kelly from Snell-Hitchcock. And they said they're gonna be short too, they're gonna be brief. All right, but look around you, y'all. Look at the faces who've cheered you on, the mentors who've challenged you, and the friends and family. And then I say, look out into the stands and behind you and feel the love of your family, your loved ones who are all here supporting you. And if I say, I'd ask you to close your eyes for a second and remember all the people to whom we owe thanks. The people who helped make this possible, the people who are here now, those who quietly or not so quietly helped you along the way, and those who came before us. Some who gave their lives to create this opportunity for you and your fellow graduates. And now, take a moment for yourself. You did it! You all worked incredibly hard, and you made it. And this diploma, and y'all are gonna get your diplomas today too. It's not just a piece of paper, it's a testament to all that you've achieved, all that you accomplished. And we hope that you take a moment to really feel the weight of this accomplishment because y'all earned it, you earned it. Outside our apartment, Kenyatta and I have a sign that reads, "Everybody is welcome here." And I mean everyone. Wherever we each come from, whatever we each believe, we're family here. It's our home. Before you leave, Antoinette, Abdullah, Kenyatta and I want to thank you at least one last time. Thank you for making our home, our community, the special place that it is. We really appreciate y'all. We stand here together in a world that feels pretty uncertain, at times even terrifying. A time when many of the norms that we've all taken for granted, that we've organized our lives are in question. But we know y'all are prepared. You're ready. We know this. So, as you each step across the stage and into it's crazy, all that lies in front of you, all that lies ahead, here's our deepest wish for each and every one of y'all. And I promise I was short. Just be true to yourself. Really, be true to yourself. When the noise of the world starts getting loud around you, listen to your own inner voice. Your values, your passion, your own senses of right and wrong. Don't be afraid to carve out your own path, even if it's not the same or even if it's different than everybody else's path. Hold on to your integrity, and I mean fiercely hold on to your integrity. Let that be the foundation of all your decisions in your life and your careers. Nurture your curiosity, never stop asking why. And remember, finally, remember the kindness, collaboration, and community that supported you here. Remember, you are our family. You are our family, always. And we hope that you take the spirit of that with you out into the world. Because the skills and the knowledge that you've honed here, the knowledge you've gained, those are just your tools. Those are your tools, right? But your character, your authenticity, those are your superpowers. Trust them. Now let's get this party started. Rishi, I said we'd be short. Come on.
After getting a C+ in my first quarter at UChicago, I knew that if I wanted to be a speaker at graduation, I probably couldn't rely on the university to nominate me. So that's why I nominated myself to give this speech, but more importantly, because I love iHouse. I love iHouse so much that I've been to 3 of the 4 global iHouses that were made possible by the philanthropy of John D. Rockefeller Jr. in Chicago, Berkeley, and Paris. The Berkeley iHouse's Tiffin Cafe equivalent has an alcohol license. I ordered a Fireball kombucha, thinking it would be an explosion of flavors. Turns out it was literally Fireball and kombucha. As you can imagine, I don't remember much else from the Berkeley iHouse. Meanwhile, while studying abroad, I spent 9 weeks living in the Paris iHouse, or rather, la Cité Internationale Universitaire. It's a campus made up of houses for different nations. I lived in the American house, which was directly north of the Mexican house. I can't tell if that's a coincidence or if the architect just has a terrible grasp of geography, because then why were the Norwegians next to the Brazilians? It was all very confusing. Which of course brings us back to our beloved Chicago iHouse. Berkeley might have had booze, but we had breakfast sandwiches wrapped in foil. And sometimes the foil would fuse into the cheese. We had an epic saga of fire alarms. That became my morning routine. I would wake up to blaring sirens, confirm I wasn't on fire, and walk to breakfast. Speaking of which, no talk of iHouse would be complete without mentioning our much ridiculed walking distance to campus. But honestly, it was way overblown, especially since if you took the shortcut through the dumpsters behind Ida Noyce, you could save like 40 seconds. But all that aside, what made living in iHouse special was how, in a strange way, it felt like living with family. We saw each other at our happiest, are most stressed, are most sleep deprived. And yes, even standing outside during yet another fire alarm. Aristotle described the yeah, well. Aristotle described the highest form of friendship as a friendship of virtue, a friendship where we value one another not because of what they can do for us, but because of who they are. Now, he also said that men have more teeth than women, but ignore that for now. I think iHouse made those friendships feel natural because we weren't networking or trying to impress each other. We were just sharing our lives during this brief, confusing moment when none of us had it all figured out. Our interactions in house lounges, the courtyard, the dining room didn't feel transactional. They were spontaneous, sure, but they were real. And somewhere between all those ordinary and ridiculous moments, a building full of strangers became a home. And that wasn't an accident. It was the idea behind iHouse from the very beginning. In 1909, Harry Edmonds met a Chinese international student at Columbia who told him that after weeks in America, not a single American had spoken to him. This inspired Edmonds and his wife to build a supportive community for international students, leading to the opening of the first iHouse in 1924. A place where these serendipitous connections wouldn't depend on chance but could happen every day. As we leave UChicago to climb academic and professional ladders, I worry that the spaces that create these friendships of virtue may become harder to find. So I hope that we can remember to carry that spirit of iHouse with us. Notice those around us who might otherwise be overlooked. Invite a shy voice into the conversation. Strengthen communities where we see one another not merely for the pleasure and utility we provide, but as ends in themselves, individuals with fascinating minds, beautiful ideas, and great stories to tell. Because if we do, together, we can make this vast, scary world we are stepping into feel a little warmer, a little kinder, and just a little bit more like iHouse. Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, esteemed deans, university staff, faculty, proud families and friends, and the people we're all here for, class of 2026. Now, if someone hasn't told you to do this yet, and I know that some people have said, maybe think about the people in this room, I want you to take a moment, find your family, bleachers, behind you, corner, whatever. Take a look, and give them just a little wave, parents, guardians especially, and I will graciously translate your wave. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being here for us, and always here for us. I know that might seem corny, but none of us would have made it through our time at UChicago without our amazing families. For those of you who don't know me, I am Marin Kenny, and and I am a lifelong Chicagoan. And more importantly for this setting, I am a lifelong UChicagoan. I was born about a block from where I'm currently standing at the Bernard Mitchell Lying-In Hospital, as was my grandmother, who's in the audience today. Hi. My mother is the senior instructional professor in the Norwegian Studies Department. And can be credited with so much of who I am. But today, in particular, I'll be giving her credit for pushing me to get the very best education I could. Did it! Yes. In fact, this is a long-held family tradition. There's a photo of my great-grandfather and his two brothers, the Krogs, out there in the hallway in Ratner somewhere, crediting them not only with attending this very university in the 1920s, but also with their shared status as All-American athletes in about like half a dozen sports. So all of this is to say, I've always felt like a part of this university. Now, living in Snell-Hitchcock and serving as an RA has allowed me to enlarge that UChicago family. Since my first day as a UChicago student, I have lived in Snell-Hitchcock Hall, more specifically, Hitchcock House, and for the last year, I've served as one of their RAs. I love my house. I love my building, and we do have the prettiest building on campus, bar none. I will hear no comments that's just the truth. But the most beautiful part of it is our common room. I love our common room. It's called the Green Room. If you are lucky enough to visit, you should try. It's my favorite place on campus. And it's not beautiful just because it has these beautiful floor-to-ceiling windows that have ivy all over them and these like really cool inlays in the ceiling that are like ornate and just, I mean, it's the perfect UChicago room, really. But that's not why I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful because of the hours I have spent in there with my residents, who I often call my kids, and because I think of us as a family. We have laughed about the absurdity of a second or ninth week midterm in there. We've watched dozens of old movies. Yeah, I do mean ones from like the 90s or the 80s, so like not to like hurt anybody's feelings in the audience, but it's neither here nor there. They're the better for seeing the movies I'm showing them, trust me. Or making everyone who comes through our door, everyone who comes through our door can have some cake that I baked, because I always make a double batch just in case, because luckily my kids have friends sometimes. While I will miss my kids, I know that we don't have to live together to remain a family, and we are now us, class of 2026. We are each leaving a piece of ourselves for those who will come after us, in our houses, in our classrooms, in our labs, wherever we've worked, wherever we've been in clubs, just made friends, anything like that. We're all leaving a piece of ourselves and taking with us an expanded understanding of family that I trust we will bring into the next stage of our lives. Congratulations, class of 2026.
Ready to start calling up our students. We're starting with Booth House.
Juan Pablo Casas, Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences. Jason J. Chen, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Alexander Eden DePoyen Brown, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics. Samantha Hope Garrison Feinberg, Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics, minor in Media Arts and Design. Santiago Andres Galan, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy. Calvin Gustavo Guerrero, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science, minor in Spanish. Emily Harjabrata, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Master of Science in Chemistry. Aliyah Salara Harris, Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics, Bachelor of Arts in Middle Eastern Studies. Lisbeth Herrera Gomez, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters, and Society, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Gender and Sexuality Studies, Master of Arts in Social Sciences. Samuel Robert Johnson, Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy Studies, minor in Data Science.
Geneva Kirk Drayson, Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science, minor in Molecular Engineering, Technology, and Innovation.
Marlene Abigail Medina, Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy Studies. Luz Maria Montiel, Bachelor of Arts in Race, Diaspora, and Indigeneity. Caden Diarmuid O'Connell, Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Sergio Manuel Palma, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Fernando Francisco Sandoval, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in History. Devin Harvey Snow, Bachelor of Science in Astrophysics, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Cosimo Hanuel Weiss, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy.
Breckenridge House.
Ana Clarissa Patricia Beltran Gonzalez, Bachelor of Arts in Comparative Human Development. Brendan Busquet, Bachelor of Science in Computational and Applied Mathematics, Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Ayman Buzaidi Tiali, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Natalia Anna Kadish, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, minor in Media Arts and Design. Anil Daval Campos Patel, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Physics. Hu Fei Chen, Bachelor of Arts in Environment, Geography, and Urbanization. Julian Jens Christensen, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, minor in Data Science. Sydney Ariane Nicole Cook, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Race, Diaspora, and Indigeneity. Selena Bridiana Cortez, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, minor in Inequality, Social Problems, and Change. Lincoln James Crockett, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Master of Arts in Economics. Aiden Fielding Dixon, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, minor in Latin American and Caribbean Studies. Gabriela Changmin Dong, Bachelor of Arts in Neuroscience. Natalie Anna Droz, Bachelor of Arts in Environment, Geography, and Urbanization. Owen Alexander Dudney, Bachelor of Arts in Physics. Lucas Edgar, Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry. Liam Stephen Galbraith, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Oluwaseyi Christopher Kadiri, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy. Tiffany Lee, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Salvador Magdaleno III, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Leka Thomas Masudi, Bachelor of Arts in History, minor in Biological Sciences. Christos Nikitas Menemenlis, Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences. Tyler Douglas Shasteen, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters, and Society. Siddharth Shastri, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Master of Science in Computer Science. Yaroslav Vozlomitel, Bachelor of Arts in Comparative Literature, Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Literature, Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing.
Phoenix House.
Evgenia Olivia Harris Anastasakos, Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Literature, Bachelor of Arts in History. Oliver Rothroff Bach, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Madeline Raven Brown, Bachelor of Arts in Classical Studies. Valentina Carreño, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Human Rights. Karen Lizette Chuchuca Tuba, Bachelor of Arts in Global Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Master of Arts in Social Sciences. Michael Declan Clancy, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Nina Mara Rose Clark, Bachelor of Arts in Human Rights, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology. Emily Michaelin Curran, Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology, minor in Theater and Performance Studies. Joseph Patrick DePaula, Bachelor of Arts in Medieval Studies, Bachelor of Arts in History, minor in Theater and Performance Studies. Cal L. Wilson Drummond, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology, minor in Computer Science. Elizabeth Ashling Eck, Bachelor of Arts in Fundamentals, Issues and Texts, Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Literature. Ana Gabriela Estupiñan, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters and Society, Bachelor of Arts in History, minor in Visual Arts. Jeremy Jaya Foreman Duranyona, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics. Ashley Garcia, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Romance Languages and Literatures. Francesca R. Gossett, Bachelor of Science in Molecular Engineering, minor in Molecular Engineering of Sustainable Energy and Water Resources. Xiao Qian Ho, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters and Society, Bachelor of Arts in Art History. William Ryland Houston, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Bachelor of Arts in Physics. Akanashe Peter Lema, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Hirad Marami, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in History. Andrew John Mark Welch, Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics, minor in Mathematics. Luis Fernando Ojeda Aguiar, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Lydia K. Osborne, Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences, Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing. Eva Scott Peg Garb, Bachelor of Arts in History, minor in Classical Studies, minor in Democracy Studies. Alexander Popov, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, minor in Computer Science. Narupan Songtai, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Amelia Torres, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Mitchell Castillo Velasco, Bachelor of Arts in Geophysical Sciences. Yue Jiaju, Bachelor of Arts in East Asian Languages and Civilizations.
Shori House.
Rishi Junkai Basu, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics. Rachel Elizabeth Bolte, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology, minor in Business German, minor in Gender and Sexuality Studies. Elias Greenwald Boyan, Bachelor of Arts in Sociology, Bachelor of Arts in Music, minor in Architectural Studies. Benjamin McKinley Cohen, Bachelor of Science in Physics, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, minor in History, Philosophy, and Social Studies of Science and Medicine. Eliana Cara Fernandez, Bachelor of Arts in Environment, Geography, and Urbanization, minor in Visual Arts. William Everett Foster, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Master of Arts in International Relations. Miriam Alana Friedman, Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Literature, Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing. Zachary Charles Harrison, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, minor in Linguistics. Jennifer Liseth Lopez, Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences, minor in Health and Society. Madison R. Mathis, Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing, Bachelor of Arts in Gender and Sexuality Studies. Aurelie Rabinowitz, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Cognitive Science. Rayat Rayan Roy, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Ezra Santos, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics.
Thompson House.
Ryan Richard Anderson, Bachelor of Arts in Global Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Cinema and Media Studies. Isaac Yu. Connor Jack Blake, Bachelor of Science in Molecular Engineering, minor in Computer Science. Calissa Ariana Blunt, Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy Studies, Masters of Public Policy, minor in Computer Science. Haja Adama Bundu, Bachelor of Arts in Global Studies, Master of Arts in Social Sciences. Lucy Carol Carter, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, minor in Philosophy. Fira Gopal Chaudhry, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters, and Society, Master of Arts in Social Sciences with a concentration in Economics. Ryan Chen, Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences. Sophie Martha Rep Christian, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Andre de la Cruz Arce, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Emnet Wasilatu Akanki Jabrila, Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences, Bachelor of Arts in Race, Diaspora, and Indigeneity. Elena Mashur Eisenstadt, Bachelor of Arts in History, Bachelor of Arts in Romance Languages and Literatures. Sophia Junko Emi, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Bachelor of Arts in Comparative Human Development, Master of Arts in Social Sciences with a concentration in Psychology. Alex Daniel Flores, Bachelor of Science in Molecular Engineering, minor in Theater and Performance Studies. Bernardo Frank de Albuquerque, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, minor in Data Science. Raymond Caneco, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics. Seth Oliver Knights, Bachelor of Science in Physics, minor in Computer Science. Sophia Kucher, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Bachelor of Science in Biological Chemistry, minor in Environment, Geography, and Urbanization. Harlan Lucas Gura-Lariviere, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Ashley Jisoo Lee, Bachelor of Arts in East Asian Languages and Civilizations. Ryan Grace Leonard, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, minor in Democracy Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters, and Society. Quinn Leo, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Cognitive Science, minor in Computational Neuroscience. Maria Robert Manyama, Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences, minor in English and Creative Writing. Brian Miranda, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science. Jonathan Marangel Monday, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Bachelor of Arts in Cognitive Science. Eugenia Geraldine Emmanuel Phillips Frank, Bachelor of Arts in History. Anne Marie Ryan, Bachelor of Science in Molecular Engineering. Ivan Santos Silva, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Romance Languages and Literatures. Elia Bella Toledano, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, minor in Philosophy. Ilya Voloshin, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Master of Science in Computer Science. Qishan Wang, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Bachelor of Arts in Cognitive Science. Max Neil White, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Chelsea Shantha Anna Wilk, Bachelor of Science in Molecular Engineering. Nicolas Alessandro Wolf Rodriguez, Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences. Jiaming Yang, Bachelor of Arts in Statistics, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics. Claire Elizabeth Barbosa, Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy Studies. Hao Tian Wang, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics.
Hitchcock House.
Sewiros Temesgen Abebe, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science, minor in Philosophy. Sneha Agrawal, Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences, minor in Data Science. Narina Azizpour, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Cognitive Science, Master of Science in Computer Science. Pavlik Max Braverman, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics, Masters of Public Policy, minor in Philosophy. Avery Jameson Bennell, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, minor in Latin American and Caribbean Studies. Antonio M.V. Bush, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters and Society, Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Karis Nicole Ertel, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Ralph Eugene Harrison, Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences. Zachary Andrew Hassman, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Statistics. Phoebe Chu He, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Romance Languages and Literatures. Martin Huang, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, minor in Statistics. Marin Sigrid Kenny, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Henry Mansfield Knapp, Bachelor of Arts in Physics, Bachelor of Science in Astrophysics, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Noam Charles Levinsky, Bachelor of Arts in Environment, Geography and Urbanization, Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing, minor in Geographic Information Science. Ava Kylie Lim, Bachelor of Science in Biological Chemistry, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Giovanni Maya, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Science in Data Science. Yosha Gozani Rice, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Cinema and Media Studies. Shruti Rungta, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, minor in Health and Society, Master of Arts in Social Sciences. Samuel James Driscoll Shore, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, minor in Architectural Studies. Jay Li Shen, Bachelor of Science in Physics, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Victoria Marie Sullivan, Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences, minor in Computer Science. Justin Asher Tarquino, Bachelor of Science in Computational and Applied Mathematics, Bachelor of Arts in Statistics. Obioma Benjamin Okumaru, Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences. Arzu Samir Yuskankar, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Master of Arts in Social Sciences with a concentration in Psychology. Ksenia Andrivna Utkena, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, minor in Education and Society. Conrad Ebubetji Olisaimeka Uyakonwu, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science, minor in Race, Diaspora, and Indigeneity, Master of Science in Computer Science. Pooja Vagesna, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Si Yuan Xing, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, minor in Quantum Information Science.
Snail House.
Tiffany Oyenloluwa Akinyoade, Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Global Studies. Isabel Alvarez, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Law, Letters, and Society, minor in Spanish. Sarah Eden Amara, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Kristen Alejandra Araujo, Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, minor in Latin American and Caribbean Studies. Sebastian Bailey Deary, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Yuki Lee Hirano, Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy. Adam Stewart Jensen, Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Environment, Geography, and Urbanization. Caitlin Margit Kenny, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, minor in Chemistry, Master of Arts in Social Sciences with a concentration in Psychology. Manya Lalwani, Bachelor of Science in Biological Chemistry, Bachelor of Science in Data Science, Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry. Brian Zoli, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Yu Xiao Li, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Arts in Physics. Sophia Ailey Marcial, Bachelor of Science in Biological Chemistry. Ariana Pamela-Lena McKnight, Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences, minor in Religious Studies. Paul Jungwoo Rim, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Iman Suleiman, Bachelor of Arts in Cognitive Science. Zai Lei Zhang, Bachelor of Science in Biological Chemistry.
Santiago Baca, Bachelor's in Anthropology and Religious Studies.
With that being said, I want to thank all of you families for coming out for your graduates. I want to say that in quick closing, my wife Antoinette and I, we were born here on Chicago's South Side, and we have humbly served as resident deans for 3 years for Snell-Hitchcock, and those have been 3 amazing years. As an emergency room physician, one thing people ask me is, what are the worst parts about my job? And I think people can mostly imagine what that looks like. But the best parts about my job are the fact that I get to come home every day, and that home for me is just a few miles away from where I grew up, and that home has been made an even better home by the residents of Snell-Hitchcock and the greater campus of University of Chicago. Every once in a while, when you work in the emergency department, you get to deliver a baby. And those can be the best parts about your job. And just like that, that's a painful experience to be birthed into the world. It's a painful experience to come into bright lights. It's a painful experience to stretch muscles you've never used before, but you've been ready for it. And that baby comes out and it's healthy, and you realize that you didn't do very much in that whole process, but let nature take its place. I think those are the best of days. People look at you like you're the expert. What I've learned in life is that my wife, having birthed 3 perfectly healthy children that called Snell-Hitchcock home, she's a real expert. But now, for you all are being birthed into a new world. And as you all step out of this journey in the next couple of minutes, I want you all to remember all of those tough things that you've learned while being here. I want you to remember all the adversity that you've come through to sit right here. Remember the times when you thought you couldn't do it, or you thought that the world was against you, and you still made it through 1 minute at a time, one study session at a time, one lonely dinner or not so lonely dinner at the Bartlett halls or at, any of the different halls that you may have eaten at. And sometimes even in the homes of the RDs and RHs of you all's respective houses. One reason, as we close, that we took this role was that we wanted to make sure that the graduates of UChicago, who notoriously go lead the world in almost every single different area, that just as I once graduated these stages as a Pritzker School of Medicine graduate of 2016, you all will graduate out here and become leaders. We took this role because we wanted to, as Chicago natives, as Southside natives, we wanted to make sure that you all left this place thinking of the community surrounding this campus as us, as we, and not just them or they. And I think that each one of you all should give yourselves a round of applause for actually accomplishing that during your times here. The greatest part about University of Chicago that I've learned is that it's the ability to give back. It's the ability to reach back and teach. It's the ability to come back and host a course and take that expertise in business finance or molecular engineering or social sciences and continue to not only make the world greater by what you do outside of campus, but how it contributes to those who are struggling just as you once did in the seats that you once sat in, who are trying to get to where you are at right now. So with one last round of applause, I want you all to take those tassels, flip them, throw the hat, whatever you're gonna do. Congratulate yourselves. One big round of applause. Congratulations, class of 2026, on making it to this point as we walk on out. Thank you all.